Good day.
Buenos
I
dias.
was going to say good morning, but
Good morning.
I know, but what happens if people are listening to it in the evening? Good
Oh,
evening.
I was gonna say, is it not a good morning?
Good day.
Good day, mate. You sound like you're from Australia.
I wish I was.
I wish you had that accent. I would listen to you all day long if you had that accent.
I totally. Do you watch Ginny in Georgia?
No, but I really want to. Is it good?
Oh, it's so good. It's in the third season, but I just love her character and her accent. It's just so great. Like if I could pull that off, I'd talk like that all the time.
You can pull it off, I bet. Just practice a
Oh,
little.
yeah. Let me just add that to my list of things to do today.
Wait, I would love it if you were like, hey, I'm going to my dialect class, my accent class. They have those for actors.
Yeah, but guess what?
You're not
I'm not an
interested?
actor. I'm 43 years old.
Don't
Like,
you dare.
bye, guys. Sorry, I'm starting my life all over again. I'm taking acting classes. I'm
Maybe.
gonna join Second City. I'm just gonna do all the things.
Yeah.
Become famous by I'm 75.
Here's the problem. There's this thing going around on Instagram and I love it because it'll like it's a few pictures and it'll say Martha Stewart was how old when she started.
Yeah,
Harrison Ford was how old when he started. Kate Spade, like all these people that didn't get their big break until later in life.
yeah.
And they're huge. And they're what's crazy is that now they're only known for the success. But how many people do we know that are known for the struggle that it took to get there?
Right. But I don't, with all that's going on in Hollywood, by the way, guys, you're listening to Socially
Oh
Unsocial.
God, we just went right. Patty, she's Danielle. Let's just get into it because we have a lot to talk about. I want Danielle to become an
Yeah.
actor.
But I don't, yeah, no. The Hollywood's creepy and crazy. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. Like, I don't think you can be successful unless you're, even if you're good at what you do, you can't be successful in Hollywood unless you want to be a creep.
I know it's all about who you know, and
I know. And I know you probably don't agree with the whole being a creep thing either in
me.
Hollywood.
I think there's good people in Hollywood, but I think they do kind of have to sell their souls a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
But anybody does, like if what you're doing or the people that you're trying to serve, like literally, I'm even thinking my last job. Like if I had kissed ass a little bit more and made like it's all politics
Yes,
and who's the leader.
you have to kiss ass, but when
Mhm.
you have to put your morals and values aside to get successful or be
Mhm.
successful or
Mhm.
to get that role or be this number one name in Hollywood, what what's your breaking point?
Well,
When do
because
you say fuck no?
yeah, because you have morals and values and you won't compromise them to further to get what you want or to be a part of something that you don't agree with anyways. There's no point for you. But for a lot of people, being famous or whatever, and they're just kind of like, okay, I guess this is the road that it takes to get there. I have to kind of compromise myself a little bit. I mean, I've definitely done that in life. I've like compromised things that I thought just to see, like, well, is this for me? And then as you
Right.
go through it, you're like, oh God, retreat immediately.
I'm no Mother Teresa, so there's things that, yeah, I'll push the boundaries and see, okay, maybe.
But it has to align with who you are.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some things that it's like, okay, I did it and now I can live with myself because I did it and it's not that big of a deal.
Hmm.
But then it's like some of these things that people are doing, it's like literally you could not pay me enough to even think about doing
Right.
something like that.
Well, I think because you do things that are fun. So when you're saying, "Oh, I'm not Mother Teresa," it's like, yeah, no, we like to have a good time and we like to party and we like to, just have fun. I think that the difference is that we're not hurting anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, of course, no. In Hollywood, it seems as if maybe they're part of things that really damage other humans, and that's not our jam. We don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, especially once this Diddy trial wraps up, we'll
Are
probably
you seeing
see.
it? Are you following?
D-
It's not on TV the way that the Johnny
n-
Depp thing was.
No,
Where is
because
it?
it's a federal case and federal cases are not allowed to be
What
televised.
was Johnny Depp's?
I think that was a civil.
State?
That was a civil.
Oh,
It was Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp, not
I liked
the
it.
state.
I liked it. It was very entertaining.
You can watch the recap of like the Diddy and they do the drawings in the court and stuff like that on
Hmm.
court TV.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then all like the newscasts will broadcast like snippets of it and stuff. I haven't really followed up the last week with it because
Oh
I've
my
been
God.
busy.
You've been busy.
And the
You've been so
Karen
busy.
retrial's coming to an end, so we're waiting for the verdict on that. So I
Oh,
was playing catch up with that.
so wait,
So
the Karen, what is that? That's the one with the Boston
she killed, they say
police
she
wife.
killed her boyfriend, the Boston cop.
Okay.
Yeah. So Maybe by the time this airs, the verdict will already be in.
Riveting stuff.
I know it's so not up your alley.
I think it would be, but not this week, not this season of life.
Oh, but this is a spin. I heard this the other day and then I laughed on the radio and then I read this in a book yesterday. And I'm just curious on how you would answer it because I'm the crime junkie and you're the reality TV junkie. And it's basically how to spot like a serial killer. It's a riddle. Okay. And
I am riddled out after my children. Tracking.
they give everybody this test to see it's the killer test.
Okay.
Okay. So this girl is at her mother's funeral and she sees a guy she doesn't know.
Mhm.
She falls in love with him and decides he's her dream guy. A few days later, she kills her sister. Why does she do that?
I have no idea.
Like, you have nothing to like throw at. I got it. I'm definitely a serial killer.
Wait, what? Oh, you knew.
I
You
knew
why
why
the
she
sister
killed. Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's okay. So this
So you're-
girl is at her mother's funeral.
And she sees a random guy.
And she falls in love with him. She's like, "Oh my God, he's my dream guy." A few days later, she kills her sister. Why does she kill her sister?
Why did she kill her sister? Because her sister tried to sleep with her new love. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say.
Oh, good. So I'm not a serial killer.
Yeah, no, she kills her sister thinking she'd run back into the guy because he'd show up to the funeral.
Oh, okay. So here's the problem. I was assuming that they fell in love and were dating at this point.
Oh yeah, no, she just yeah.
That is funny and sad and sick. And I love that you just knew that right off the top of your head. You're like, yep, this is exactly what we would do. Shoot your shot. Get him to another funeral.
I wouldn't do that, but
You
I
would-
understand
you
how
would-
serial killers and crazy people work.
You would be such a good detective.
No, that was in my past life.
Oh,
No.
I like would lose sleep at night. I can't listen to that.
No, I definitely I feel like lose sleep too. I mean, that's just like when I'm watching it on TV, it's like, okay, it already happened. These people already did it.
Mhm.
It's aggravating and it sticks with me. But if I had to currently be going through it,
Mhm.
no way.
I know.
No way.
Totally. All right. So I don't know if you guys follow us on social media. And if you don't, you really should because Danielle posted some really great content. But one of my favorite things, this was, in fact, one of the highs of my week. Okay.
Oh,
It's not about Disney. It's not about kids.
Thank
This time,
God.
I was on Instagram and I'm scrolling through everybody's stories and up pops this cute little story. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it right here. It's just like, oh, how nice. Somebody outside reading a book. Looks so relaxing. This is Danielle's story. I'm like, oh, this is Danielle's story. What book is she reading? Whatever. Her caption above the book is perfect weather for some reading, dot, 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 even if the birds won't shut the fuck up. So I'm literally laughing out loud. Not even the birds can make noise at this point. Jay doesn't stand a chance with his chewing and his cottage cheese. And I was just like, I love the sound of birds chirping. If I was outside, my initial thought would be like, God, this is the perfect. Even the birds came out to do a little song for me. And then there's you who's like, in spite of the birds.
I was last night too. I was like, that it was the birds and the bugs, and Jay's like, what? There's like two birds chirping.
The crickets?
I'm like, what the hell? Like they were only supposed to chirp in the morning. He's like, who said?
There's a strict schedule, and the birds are not abiding by
No,
it.
but there's other people that agree with me. I saw a guy on Instagram. He was like, is anybody else freaked out by the way the birds start chirping at 2 a.m. and they don't stop? He's like, they're saying like their circadian rhythm is all messed up because whatever's happening in the world and the pollution and global warming or whatever. So there's a group of us that there's something not right. They didn't start chirping at 2 a.m. usually. It was like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And they're not chirping when you go to bed.
No, they should.
They chirp all day long. They don't stop chirping.
Maybe they're trying to tell you something. Are you listening close enough?
That I want to fucking rip my eardrums out.
Oh, I did see a small clip. Nowadays with AI, you literally don't know what's real And
So
it's
scary.
frustrating. There was like a girl in the ocean and she was like petting what looked like a dolphin at first, and then the shark like opened its mouth. And
Not
they were
real,
like,
that hit
it's
in
not
the
real. But I'm like, why even like why put that out there? Because there are people that think it's real. Same with like the scams. Like some people can look at it and be like, that's a scam text, block immediately. And other people are like, wait, what's wrong with my PayPal? What's wrong with my United account? And they'll like fall into it. I feel it's just horrible, the world we live in. You have to really have your wits about you.
Yeah.
But I did see something about these birds that are robots.
Yes, they're watching us.
Yeah, and like I think it was, I don't want to say because I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was these like birds that they would make, and they're cameras.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What? And they chirp just to throw you off, and
Yeah.
then they like probably are robots, so they get like glitches, and then they just like chirp at the wrong hours. And I'm sure the people that made them are like, oh crap, Danielle's onto us. And then there's Patty that's just like, I love these birds. And they're like, I'm Snow White with them like coming to my porch.
You open up, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Have you seen the meme popping up? It's like, okay, all my conspiracy theories have come true, so give me some new ones. Because legit, yeah,
Well, that's gotta be validating. How does that feel for
it
you?
feels amazing.
Like, good. Cheers to you.
Thanks.
And I'm being a little crazy. Last night when we were going to bed, I was like, wait, but Mike, what about this? And wait, but Mike, I saw this and this and this. And he's like, listen, Patty, he goes, be careful what you talk about, be careful what you watch on your phone, because it's gonna keep showing up. And then you're gonna go down this rabbit hole. And then you're gonna end up like these crazy people that all they talk about is, well, just wait till you find out this. And I was like, okay, yeah, I need to just like read my books or watch my reality TV shows and just like be chill. Because if I'm so obsessed, I mean, I guess it depends on the person. If you can think of these things and not have it kind of consume you,
Right.
great. But if it is going to consume you, it's like really, there's not much that you can do to change other people. All you can do is just live your life and try to make your little ripple effects. Because honestly, what can you do to change all this craziness?
Right.
The robot birds,
That's why you have
everything.
to make sure you stay clear and you can determine right from wrong or
Mhm.
entertainment to news
Yes.
and making sure do your research, especially now with AI,
Mhm.
because they're doing it with celebrities and there's so many people that hold these celebrities at a high standard. So if they're saying it, oh, of course. Or if they're buying it, well, of course. If they're doing it, oh, of course.
Mhm.
So you just really have to hone in and do your due diligence before you take a stance, before you get involved with something,
Yeah,
and just be
absolutely.
true to yourself.
Amen, sister.
Amen. Well, if you already said your high, what was your low?
My low is I had it. My low was supposed to be the easy one. Do you have your high? Did you share
Yeah,
your?
on my high, me and three of my OG
Oh yes.
besties, we went to go see Gavin DeGraw,
Wait, I
and
saw that.
we
First off, Gavin DeGraw is such a throwback to
that's
like.
our person. That was the
Oh,
first concert I think we all saw together,
how old
and
is he?
he's pretty young, so he started his career young.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for, One Tree Hill, which is what made him
I
with
was
the,
just gonna ask which
and that one
song.
was, they came out in 2000 something.
Wow, and that song for those of you that don't know is "I Don't Want to Be,"
Yeah.
which is such a good song.
Yeah, but he puts on a good concert. So it
Really?
was fun because I can't even tell you the last time the four of us were together. It literally has been probably years
Hmm.
since the four of us were together. So it all worked out. It was a beautiful day. The concert was great. So it was just nice, like kind of going back and reminiscing and just kind of being with those people and just kind of lead you to the fact that to remember friendships need work too. They just don't happen. People just don't show up. If someone's not putting in the effort and not making the phone calls and setting the dates and putting it on your calendar to do those things, then those friendships go away, especially ones that you've been friends with for forever because life gets busy. So
Yeah.
it was a good night.
Oh, I'm so happy. That's so needed. That's so nice. Sometimes I feel like a lot that we talk about on our podcast is how to like focus on the relationships that you want to keep. I think probably because that hits home for both of us as we've gotten through certain things with certain friendships and you've seen some friends fade away. So when you lose friends or there's friends that somehow manage to get through all the different chapters or even like the ones that you fell off and then you come back together and then you realize that that's where you should put your energy and your time into. It's really nice to have those sorts of friendships, but also, yeah, big reminder. It doesn't just happen. You don't just have people in your corner without being in somebody else's corner.
Yeah, and Anna said it great when she posted pictures from that night. It's like, make the
saw that.
call, make the plans, put it on your calendar. Because I think she's also struggling with some other friendships that she's like, okay, like I know it's ran its course. Like the effort's not there on the other side, and then why do I keep caring? And I'm like, well, you care because you care, and that person was a big part of your life for so long, and now you're not getting that same attention because they're at a different point of their life, and maybe you're not as important. Not saying she doesn't care about you, but maybe it's just time to move on, and it's okay.
Well, and it doesn't have to be forever. Like you can sit and be like, okay, this person isn't supporting me or there for me, doesn't have time for me right now. And it doesn't have to be forever. I think the hardest part is if you are in need and your friends are also in their season of needing, and then you can't pour into each other's cups because you're just both going through it at the same time. That's what's hard. But if somebody else is like, going through their stuff and putting you on the back burner, let them. And then maybe it'll circle around. And maybe it'll hurt less if you believe to like just put it in the back of your head. Maybe this will come back around. Maybe it's not our season. Maybe we need a few months off and then we'll come back together. I think that I've done that with a lot of friendships. Even this morning at like 7 a.m., I get a text from my high school chat group. And then 64 texts later, as I'm doing carpool to drop off the kids at summer school. And then we're just laughing and reminiscing. And it's like no time has passed, even though we haven't seen each other probably in a year. I think actually they were at my dad's funeral. So no, I did see them last summer. So it's literally almost been a year that all of us have been together. And that was, like I said, at a funeral. But I don't hold it against any of us because we're all just busy.
No, I think there's a reason, like if you understand the reason and they understand the reason and but there's those people that are just probably not meant to be. Like you've outgrown them and that's okay. Because, or it's how you try to come back into that person's life. Because it's like, okay, I treated you like shit and I ignored you. And now I just want you to drop everything for me.
You have to
That's not
acknowledge.
cool either.
Yeah, you have to admit. I have a friend very close who always will just ghost, always. But when she comes back, she says, I'm back from my little depressive episode. And I'm sorry I wasn't there. How have you been? And then it's nice, even though she can't really fix it, and she's gonna do it again, because again, she's not fixing it. But at least I know that she knows that, like, hey, did you need me?
That is a very great segue to the meat and potatoes of our podcast today, because I saw this video on Instagram and it was, I don't know the back context of it, if this was a therapist or a person who's been in a lot of therapy, but I thought this would be a great conversation to have, being that I don't go to therapy and I probably should, and you go to therapy. But she was basically saying she's going to give you therapy in 4 minutes. And she bullet pointed all these little highlights, and I thought it was so amazing. And what I said to you, because you've been in therapy, I haven't, and a lot of the reason
Wait, you've never, ever, ever gone to a
no,
therapist?
never. And
what about like a counselor at school?
Oh yeah, I used to do that in junior high for sure.
Okay.
But a lot of it is like, I know what my problem is, I know what my issues, and again, it goes back to everything I'm going to read today. To me, it's like, duh, that's common sense, right? And maybe I don't need someone to tell me, duh, that's common sense, like, because I know it, I just need to figure out my way through it.
I want you to have a session with a therapist, mine, who's amazing.
I like passed out her name like 3 times in the last 2 weeks to people.
Yeah, you should. I have a session with her tomorrow. I love her. I feel like I would be really interested if you took like a month and said, hey, I'm going to meet once a week, because that's what we have to do. I would love to see if you get anything out of it. If you're like, hey, listen, I know my problems, I know my issues, I just have to work through them. Well, I know my problems and I know my issues. However, what I don't know is like those coping skills. And when I'm super angry or, this or that, or super emotional, I should say, or in the thick of it, you tend to forget the coping skills. And that's why you go to therapy.
No.
That's why I go to
Okay,
therapy.
so I guess maybe, and it will be an experiment, a scientific experiment, but
I love it. The only way that I'm going to get you to go to therapy.
well, no, because it's just like, I just feel like it might, I know how to cope. I know what gets me through it. And most of my issues is just because I'm not getting the reaction out of somebody
Because
else.
other people are idiots. I
Because
get
it's
it.
like their coping skills, like me and Jay fight. It's like, okay, this is what I want him to do, and this is what I need to do, but we're not doing that.
My therapist is also a couples counselor and a grief therapist. I love her. I love her. If you want the information, reach out. We'll happily give it to you. Especially if insurance covers it. Like, come on, just go.
I understand that, like insurance, but you're still copay, and there's still like it's your
Go once a
time.
month. Oh, your time.
What's your time worth?
Well, okay. I think
Like,
you should do
oh,
it.
my sister hurt my feelings. My husband was a dick. My mom didn't call me today. Like, what? I don't know.
Interesting.
I just
For
think
someone
that
who wants to be a life coach,
I,
you're not going to go to therapy.
I just think that there's things that happen to people that they need a therapist to work through because they can't be honest with themselves.
But everybody has things in their life. Like everybody has something that happened to them in life that whether you realize it or not.
But I know that. I know my parents getting divorced. I know things that happened and that I witnessed has made me who I am today and the reasons why I didn't want to do the things I did or did do the things I did.
I will bet you a nice dinner out, not just with you and I, but with Jay and Mike as well in attendance. So this is getting pricey, okay? I will bet you that if you went to therapy for 6 months, you would have so much material that you would have learned and aha moments.
I think that most people would stop hanging around with me because I give advice unsolicited all the time. Can you imagine if
Maybe.
I went to 6 months of therapy? People are like, what the fuck? Shut her up. She's a know-it-all.
Nope. I don't think that that would be your outcome.
Okay.
I think that your outcome would be like a little bit more like of a woosah.
Are you getting a kickback from this therapist from everyone you send that her way?
You know what? I'm living a better life because everyone's going to therapy. Like, if that's the takeaway, because I've heard that people are in therapy because of the people that won't go to therapy. And I'm not saying you, but I'm saying like there's people in my life that have never gone to therapy or refuse to go. And I'm like, listen, you would be able to manage your feelings and everything that you're going through, and you'd be able to work and talk to me so much better if you went to therapy. And then I'm going to go to therapy so that I'm not a jerk to everyone around me.
But I
And
don't think
taking it
anyone
from
should be or is in therapy because of me. Like, are you trying to tell me something? She makes fun of me.
No,
Oh.
but that's the thing. Like people, not you and your reasons for not going to therapy, but that is what they say. Like if parents refuse to go to therapy and then the kids are trying to have a relationship with them, that's the reason that the kid now is going to therapy because of somebody who refuses. Or like couples that the one's like I'm never going to therapy, they're stupid. Well, now the other one is stuck.
Well, if I think that if my relationship with Jay got to that point, that we would definitely
You'd
go
be
to
open.
therapy. I would be
You'd
open
be
and I would be
open.
doing everything I could to save my marriage. But right now, they're just stupid fights. It was a stupid fight over fucking tortillas yesterday. Like, that's how stupid the fight was.
I love the stupid ones. I miss stupid fights. I want the stupid fights. I don't want any of the serious nonsense. We'll see. One day, maybe you'll want to go to a therapist, and you know what? I hope it's not too late at that point. I hope that you can still work through your stuff. No, I just am a big proponent. I think that everyone's being
Right. And don't take this the wrong way.
but you're like,
No,
you
but
need it.
there's some people that need their thoughts and feelings validated.
I don't think that's what therapy is, though. Mike used to say that he'd be like, "You just go to therapy because she just agrees with everything that you say," and I'm like, "No."
Well, if you have the right therapist, but most people are just like, okay, okay, yes. And then how does that make you feel? And someone's listening to you explain how you feel. When in everyday life, your husband and your best friend and your mother and your sister are just going to be like, I don't want to hear, you want to tell me a story. And then I want to be like, and how does that make you feel? Like,
I don't know what kind of like movies you watch on therapy
oh my God.
sessions.
Who is with me and who is with Patty? Because that is it. That's all they, yeah,
That's
okay, yeah.
no, that's how you know you have a bad therapist. Because me and my therapist, I don't think once she has said, "And how does that make you feel?" I will tell her something that happened, and then she'll
But
say,
your therapist in the past?
I mean, well, maybe, probably. And that's why they're not my current therapist. You have to like bounce around and then you need somebody fresh with like new, fresh ideas of how you manage your life.
So do you think talking to your therapist
Mhm.
and do you tell her things that you don't tell anybody else? None of your friends, you're not your husband,
I'm
everything
super
like,
open, so I pretty much tell everybody like a lot.
okay.
But
So
yes, I
when,
have, yeah.
so have you gotten different responses from your therapist than you do from your friends, or have you gotten the same responses?
Well, here's the great thing. From my friends, I either get like, hey, here's how you fix it, right? That's like a big one when I'm venting to friends. It's the automatic, here's your band-aid. And then from other friends, I just get the like, oh, that sucks. Like that's so hard. I'm so sorry that's happening. But there's very few friends that will sit with it and be like, okay, that was hard. How do you want to fix this? But also, what I like about therapy is that she helps me to see from the other person's like point of view so that I then understand it better, whatever it is that I'm dealing with. So I don't want somebody who's just going to tell me how to fix it because every instance is going to be a little bit different. I would rather learn, what am I doing to get this response from people? What can I do to show up different? Like I literally was so young and I really wanted this, friendship relationship to work. And the person, my therapist said, hey, they're not going to change, but you can change how you show up for them. And then if the relationship is, something that you want to fight for, you're going to fight for it. And you're going to make changes when, you're around that person because that person is so set in their ways. So it's up to you. And that has stuck with me forever, forever, forever. When I'm with people, if they're worth it to me,
And that
I'm going to
just to
see
me
it
sounds
through.
insane.
No, because I want to see the world through their lens because their experiences and their life and why they are the way that they are is going to be completely different from the way that I see the world. So if I can show up and say, this person's important to me, now what?
Right, but you're saying what I thought you said was because you guys were so different, it's a like she didn't respect that you were different, and it was either her way or the highway, and either you get on board or you don't be around her.
Well, because in life, you can't change other people. So either, yeah, you get on board
No,
or
and
you
I'm
approach it in a different
oh right,
way.
I understand that you have to take somebody for what they are and who they are,
Hmm.
and if you don't like that, then you shouldn't be a part of their world for sure. But you shouldn't have to completely change who you are to fit in
Oh,
their
no,
world.
absolutely not. No, you don't completely change anything. The thing that you have to change is how you approach that specific relationship. And that's why I hate the word boundaries. I hate it so much because I think it's so overused and I think it's misused a lot. A lot of people think that, oh, well, it's a boundary. No, you're an asshole, is what you are. You're not showing up for your people. But thank you so much for that, fake boundary. Thanks, therapy and whatever is trending that people can just say, oh, it's just my boundaries. I just don't like that, whatever it is. I think that having relationships, especially family, friends, coworkers, marriage, it's all so hard. And I don't approach you the same way as I approach a friend of mine who's super sensitive. I'm very different in the way that I approach you and her. Our conversations go completely different ways because maybe I can be more honest with you and I can't with that other friend.
No, and that makes sense. Like
So that's what I'm
I get
talking.
that whole thing. But if
But
it
then it
was
helps me for sure. And I'm sure it would help a lot of people to navigate that and to kind of think of, what can we do differently to get the outcome that we want? And sometimes you just can't do it yourself. Sometimes you just can't.
I'll agree to disagree.
All right, let's get into your
Okay.
4
So
minutes of
let me
therapy.
so since you've been in therapy, let me know what you think, okay?
Okay,
All right. So the first one is you are what you think.
100%.
Yeah. And it goes back to just positive outlook on life, a positive high-fiving yourself in the mirror,
Which, by the
saying, I'm
way,
worth it, I'm worth it, I'm worth it.
Michael yesterday goes, Mom, I just high fived myself in the mirror. And
Good for
I was
him.
like the poltergeist. My head went like spun around 3 times. I'm like, who told you to do that, Michael?
Have you been listening to our
I
podcast?
know, I'm like, have we, for Danielle? But yeah, he goes, I don't know, he did it. And he was so cute. He's 9.5 years old, high fiving himself in the mirror. And I'm like, dude, you're amazing. Keep doing it. But yes, we talk a lot about you are what you think, you are who you're with, you are the things that you spend your time reading, watching, all those things.
Right.
It is, I mean, it's proven research. Absolutely. You are what you fill your head with. So,
Right. So start
be
thinking
careful.
positively about yourself. And even if it's not a whole package, write down your top three things that you love about yourself and then just keep saying those over and over. And hopefully that will help you grow
Mhm.
and love everything about yourself.
One of my favorite things about positive self-talk is if I'm in my head all day long, like you're alone a lot with your thoughts. So you have to make it the nicest place that you can be. So if you are finding yourself kind of talking yourself out of things, talking down to yourself, if you mess up, do a mistake, whatever, the thoughts in your head, catch them and think to yourself, would I say this to my best friend? Would I say this even like stronger to my child, to my nephew? Is that how you would talk when they mess up? And then retrain yourself because it's not fair to do that to yourself. It's not fair to tear yourself apart. Positive self talk is huge.
No, I have it in my head where I talk to myself and I'm like, okay, am I getting, is it borderline now like cocky? Because if you're just trying to really, up yourself, and just try to be like okay with whatever you did, you want to be comfortable in your skin and you want to be confident. But then sometimes, like, okay, you gotta tone yourself back. Have you?
You should talk to a therapist. When you said that, the first thing in my head was, says the girl who doesn't want therapy.
But I'm acknowledging in my head that I know maybe I've taken it too far. Tone it down, Danielle.
Maybe I'm taking it too far.
Yeah.
Maybe my positivity is too much. No, if you got that annoying, I would let you know.
Okay, thank
I
you.
promise. No, I think that it's
See, and
important.
it doesn't cost me an hour of my time, and it doesn't cost me a copay.
You just need a good friend. Not many people have a friend that's going to be like, you've gone too far. Tone it down.
All right, the second one, I freaking love it.
Ooh.
Emotions aren't problems, they're signals.
Mhm.
So I think it's like if you're feeling something, take a beat, don't react, and then figure out what your emotions are trying to tell you. So if you're angry, why are you angry? Who made you angry?
Mhm.
If you're sad, who made you sad? What made you sad? And then figure out how to deal from there, besides just reacting on the emotions.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I can think of the last few times that I've kind of gotten into an argument or gotten upset about something. And it's funny, if I felt anger or overwhelmed or whatever the feeling was, instead of reacting instantly, if I had just, like you said, take a beat and thought to myself, okay, this is completely triggering me. I am so overwhelmed, but why? And then I would have articulated something completely different than what I actually responded with in the moment. Because I would have said, listen, I'm overwhelmed because of this and this. And I realize that. And then I don't have to get defensive and I don't have to get angry about it. Emotions are 100% a signal. It's just how overwhelmed are you or how like are you already drowning to where you can't afford to take that beat before reacting? And that's I think that's why I go to therapy so that I never get to the point where I am drowning and I can't respond in the best way possible. It's like just an endless struggle, but yeah, take the beat, think about why you're feeling that way. Even people say anxiety, like it helps you realize like listen to your gut, listen to what your body is telling you.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the next one? No, there is one about anxiety. This third one is anger means, I'm sorry, it's a word you don't like, but you just used a word I don't like, trigger. Anger means your boundaries were crossed.
Mhm. Well, anger could just mean you're having a shit day.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, because I have boundaries, but
100%. Everybody
but I
does.
don't feel like half the time I'm angry is not because someone crossed my boundaries, it's because they were stupid.
And yeah, birds are chirping,
Yeah.
someone's slurping, you're done with your water, stop sipping on it, stop shaking your ice. That's why you get angry.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with boundaries.
No, it's the noises. Okay. Anxiety means you're not living in the present and you need to come back to the present moment. So this is like a mind over matter thing because I know so many people that suffer with anxiety, and I have anxiety and I have my moments. But I guess the good practice would be when you're feeling anxious, maybe just tell yourself, okay, I'm here. June 18th, a Wednesday at noon, and I'm sitting here in front of my computer and just kind of like silly things to just make you come back to that moment.
Mhm. Yeah, being present is so important because when you're anxious about things, it's constantly because you're creating scenarios for yourself. So I think that bringing yourself into the present moment is something tangible. But again, just said, like a lot of the times you're already drowning. There's no way that any sort of logic is going to hit home or land or bring you down because by the time you realize what's going on or like it's too far gone. I think that realizing it, knowing how to maybe prevent some anxious feelings is step one. And I've heard research has shown, and I love this so much, and I practiced this a lot in the past couple of years when I was losing my dad and things were just so out of my control. If I was anxious, research shows you cannot be worried about something and grateful about something at the same time. The same part of your brain allows you to worry and get anxious as it does being grateful and probably present in the moment. So anytime that I was like, well, what if this didn't happen? And oh my gosh, and then this, and then this, and I would get on this spiral of just panicking, I would sit there and try to think of what I'm grateful for right now today. And it would allow me somehow, there's some switch in your brain. So now that you've heard me say it, now just remind yourself of that and maybe write it down or think about it a lot because the more that you can lean on this tool, the easier that it's going to be if you start to worry too much or get in your head too much about things, or if you're up at night and you're just going, try to be present, try to be grateful, and maybe that'll help.
You heard it here, folks. She's not a therapist, but she's therapized and she's giving you all her tips and tricks.
I love it.
Well, then that feeds right into the next one. Habits shape your life, not motivation. Change your habits, change your life.
Round of applause. Round of applause for that one.
That was so good.
Because you can't be motivated all the time. So on the days when you're not motivated, the only thing that's going to carry you through to follow through with all the things you need to do to stay on track and hit your goals and be where you want to be a year from now is your structured schedule, your habits that you've created for yourself.
Well, motivation runs out. So it's like, okay, I'm motivated today, but I'm not tomorrow. But the last 5 days, I got up at 7 a.m. and I ran 2 miles on the treadmill. So if you're keeping that habit going, that's going to feed into your motivation and your momentum.
Mm-hmm. You know, now that you said that, one of our good listeners, Amber, one of my good friends, she is also a fitness instructor. And I want to say for like 2 years now, every single day, this woman walks a mile or runs a mile. I don't know. She's always on the treadmill. I always see it. And she posts about it and then she'll say it's been how many days or this and that. And all I think to myself is, how do you find the time? And she'll say, I didn't want to find the time, but this is my goal. This is my now habit. And this is what I'm going to do. So when you're scrolling your phone, when you're checking emails, this, that, whatever, go for a walk, go around the track, go on a treadmill. Because, yeah, the habits are literally that's what's going to carry you through the good days, the bad days, the hard days, the unmotivated days. It's like, do you have discipline? Because having self discipline is so much more important than having self motivation.
Right. Because it's like you're motivated and you have an idea, but you're not doing it. The habit is the action.
100%.
So if you guys want to be motivated,
Ooh,
stick to a schedule.
this is big. This is a big, session for me.
You can cancel tomorrow's.
Tomorrow's very serious.
Okay. Your past is a book. Go ahead and read it, but don't live in it.
Ooh.
And I love that too because there's so many people I know that just can't get past the past. It's always referring to it. Okay, yeah, this is the way I am. It's an excuse. It's an excuse to be a piece of shit and it's an excuse to keep being who you are. Like, okay, that happened. Now, maybe call a therapist, deal with it, get over it, and move on.
I just heard it recently and I shared it on my social media. And it's like the most dangerous phrase in English language is, well, this is just the way it's always been. Or this is just the way it's always been done. Like when people have innovative ideas or issues and they're looking for solutions, when they are met with, well, this is just how it's always been. Okay, well, is this the right way? Is this what's going to get us where we want to be? Is this what's right for the future, our children? And if it's not, reevaluate. 100%.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm glad that we can agree with ourselves.
Yeah.
This is
See?
this is so validating.
So validating. I'm always right.
Until the listeners start replying and being like, you idiots. Just kidding. You guys are so supportive.
Okay, here's another. If you are triggered by others, that is a reflection. It's it's a reflection of something that you have not healed with or accepted,
Mhm.
which I think that is pretty good.
You're pretty spot on.
I mean, I don't like the word triggered, but maybe if you're affected,
Can you just use the word triggered?
I just hate that word.
You know, it is overused.
Yeah.
I've heard that things that bother you in others is like it reflects back on you. It's either something that we've talked about. This. It's
Yes.
something that you wish you had yourself. It's something that maybe you once had and you no longer do. So when you see that, it triggers you. It sets off this thing in your body that says, "I don't feel good."
It's a reminder,
watching that."
yeah, because it's
Yes.
I'm watching what I could have been or should be or
Or
should
want to
do or
be.
want to be or want to do.
100%.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like reminding you of somebody that, like if I see somebody, let's just say like I get triggered by alcoholism. So if I see somebody completely out of control, I'm not so much triggered by the person themselves, but I'm more so,
By the action, because it
I'm,
reminds you of things.
or like I'm the people around them. Like I look to the people around them who
Enable.
allow it, make excuses. I think that that is more because, like, I mean, I'll go out and I'll drink. I worked in a bar. I'm fine seeing people make stupid choices or whatever. But what I'm not okay with is the response of the people around them. Are they being taken care of? Or are they being like allowed to do this behavior over and over? And is it a one-off? Is it a one-time thing? Or is it something that keeps happening and no one's talking to them about it? Or, so that to me is super triggering. And it's not because I'm an alcoholic or I could have been or would have been or should have been, but it can remind you of a situation in your life and you don't want that for other people. So then it, it triggers
Yeah,
you.
it triggers me in another way.
Hmm.
Yeah. But it's funny how someone who has experience with alcoholism can see a situation and again see it from two different lenses and like what makes you, upset or mad about it.
Hmm.
That's for another episode.
We don't have time for that.
No, we don't. We're gonna wrap it up with this last one, which I also like. This was a good one too. Control is a myth. The only power you have is the decisions you make. And I love that because I'm a control freak.
They're like, I need to have that.
Yeah. Like it is. I mean, if you don't think about control and you just think about, okay, every day I have decisions to make. Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And technically you're in control because you're in control of the decisions you make.
Yeah, you focus on the few things that you can control,
Right.
which is your actions, your reactions to where you're at.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
But also, this is like, I don't know, like I feel like a stoner conversation. Like control is a myth that the only power we have is the decisions we make. But so if you really wanted to control everything, you would have everything already figured out. So basically, like if someone asked me this question, I already know what I'm going to answer, right? Or what decision I'm going to make. But decisions can probably change daily. It can change hourly. It can change seasonally depending on your feelings and your emotions and the people that you're around. So it's kind of intriguing, I think, just because it's like if you were to tell me and ask me to do something and make a decision last week, to it probably would be something completely different today because my mood and my experiences are completely different today than they were this time last week.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, which is wild. And I love so much. So I'm a huge fan of journaling and I take pictures of everything. I take screenshots of everything. And I'm constantly like talking and writing my stuff down. So in the rare moments when you have to make a decision And somehow the universe just like throws it in your face. Hey, 6 months ago, you said this 6 months ago, and you're still in this situation, and now you still have to make that same decision. Make it already. Do it already. But it's so validating when you find that you agree with yourself, with your old self, because yeah, we're all so influenced, and it's cool to evolve and to change what your decisions and your, what you would choose. But it's really cool when you're in the moment and you're like, wait, this is what I would have done before. Now do it.
Right.
See how it changes everything. Because you are a lot more in control than our emotions let us believe.
Oh, exactly. Yes. And you should never let your emotions control your decisions,
Mm-hmm.
your conversations in your relationships.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed your free therapy session today.
I did. Thank you.
And please reach out. Let us know if any of this resonated with you. And if you want us to keep showing up, how about maybe share this episode with a friend?
Yeah.
We love to have you guys join us every week, but we show up every week and we just want everyone else to show up, listen, give us some feedback. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much. Tag us on Instagram and your quotes that you're sharing, if it reminds you of us or is inspired by something that we said, or if there's topics that you're like, hey, I really want you to do this, share it and tag us or just DM us, whatever. Let us know that you guys are
Thinking of us.
interested and thinking of us. We all want to be thought about.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're going to keep being us so you can keep being you.
bye.
Bye.
Good day.
Good day, mate.